Okay, Marco Polo was a famous explorer in about 1100. That's 1100, and remember we're in the 2000s. So, 900 years ago, Marco Polo left Italy and he went all the way to Kublai Khan's China. A very long distance today, uh, even by plane. So, multiple years to get there. Uh, I was going to talk about a strange thing that's come to my attention that some people say there is only one unforgivable sin, and that is known as blasphemy. And even Dr. David R. Hawkins, the consciousness researcher, and he said he was enlightened. I don't know. I mean, he's very funny to watch and he's very educational, but he also said the one sin that is unforgivable is blasphemy. Oh, this is going to be a strange lecture. All right, well, if you're a theoretical religionist, like, for example, Karen Armstrong writes a lot of very well-written books about the nature of divinity. She talks about the history of God in title of one of her books. And, in the olden days, people's idea of God was basically like, your parents. So, if you want to know what God was like, God was, well, usually it was patriarchal in most societies, so like your father. And, your father might teach you how to hunt, fish, be a carpenter, be a sheep herder, be a merchant, be a banker, be a stonemason, be a sailor. I don't think in the olden days they did too much mountaineering. To be a horse trainer, etc., those kind of things. And if you were going to look at a motherly version of a divinity, well, you have to look at your human mother. And, she was, well, I'm sorry if I'm going back to the olden days and traditions, and, I'm going to say cook, clean, change the baby's diapers, go to the well, get water, plow the farm when the husband's sick and somebody's got to do it, gossip. I'm sorry. These are old stereotypes. But old stereotypes that you got about what your parents were like. And remember, before 1987, the Harmonic Concordance, planet Earth actually had a calibrated level of consciousness for humanity below 200 on the scale of human consciousness. Anything below 200 was a field of negativity. So you're also going to have angry parents, and this is how they modeled God or divinity, someone who might, be helpful at times, but was quite often angry. So that's where people got their first ideas about what the nature of God was. And I always think God is, G-O-D is a short form for G-O-O-D, which is good. But anyways, it's not. We don't talk about good. We talk about God, and it changes it to a religious argument instead about good. And maybe we should just stick to calling, what our divinity is, good. Now and again. Where are we going? I have to take a pause. Okay, I'm wearing this hat and I'm calling it a Dazzle hat. Dazzle. Sometimes the military wears camouflage that has got patterns in it that makes it almost looks pixelated, like from video screens, pixelated camouflage. And in World War One, they painted ships, large capital ships, destroyers and battleships, ships of all types, uh, dazzling patterns like this. Sometimes they were like this, sometimes they would be swirls. And this was because World War One was before the time when they had radar. So they had to use optical tracking in order to shoot guns, for example. In other words, they would make just like on a rifle that has an optical scope. That's what they were using in World War One. And some brilliant person discovered that if you paint the sides of ships with all kinds of bizarre patterns like this, it makes it very hard for your eye to well, it's a form of camouflage, like I told you before, military camouflage that's got this kind of pixelated look to it. So somehow it's a form of camouflage and it confuses the eye. And if the human eye is confused, it's not as accurate at aiming its gun. And that's why they painted these ships these dazzling colors. By the time of World War II, they didn't paint these on the ships because they developed radar. I don't know if early in the war they had these kind of dazzles. I don't think so. It raises more questions than I have answers for. Now, as far as being bedazzled, I watched a small bit of tonight's mainstream news, ABC and NBC, and from flipping from NBC to ABC, they're showing the exact same news, not only the same news stories, but in exactly the same order. In other words, why do you have three major networks, or like ABC, NBC, and CBS in the olden days, and then you could add in I don't know, CNN and Fox or something? But why do they have all these networks that don't have any independent news? It is the same shit that they deliver on every channel, the same order, the same shit, the same story. It is because they don't want any other news to get in. They want to brainwash you with their version. And they will bedazzle you and get you hooked into their storyline so you'll keep tuning in, but they're going to lie to you and lie to you and lie to you because, well, is it because they're owned by entertainment companies? No. Is it because, no. The reason they're lying to you is because they're really evil, dark people. Very, very dark people. And they're, well, anyways, don't, watch the mainstream news and expect to get truth. They are lying beyond belief, and, most people know about it. And some people still watch it and pretend that it's real, but it ain't real. It is a pile of lies, and they're filthy, disgusting people that are associated with, well, I've already told you. Now and again. So, other than my Dazzle hat, what else am I going to tell you? Alright, I'm going to put on my CN Tower hat, and I always talk about, the Tower card in the tarot deck, and I always say the Tower card in the tarot deck is about people with hugely inflated egos. At the top of their tower, like Saruman, in Lord of the Rings. And if you're seeing the tower, it means you're dealing with enormous egos, with what Stuart Wilde called the electricity of the ego, which is ego juice. Dr. David R. Hawkins calls it, and it is what props up mainstream news and capitalism in general. I'm going to leave it at that. I've already gone over my 10 minutes. Oh, anything else? Oh, well, damn it. I was not going to really try. I was going to try and keep it under 10 minutes so that I could get it on Instagram TV, but, you know, in the end, I could always cut it, I suppose, with the video editor.